Hey guys, it's Man in Black here. Welcome to 52 Weeks of Green Lantern. This is week number 27. Now, for those of you who've been following, you might realize this is the second time I posted this video, and that first time didn't exactly work. Now, I don't profess to... Sorry, I apologize. I don't profess to know why, but for some reason, my webcam recorded the last episode without any audio, which was, I do not believe was an option on my webcam software. So, nothing I can really do about that other than to reshoot the episode. So we're talking about Red Lanterns number 7. This is the first episode of the new story arc, or the second, depending on how DC does it. So, by the way, I'm going to be marathoning the next several episodes. You might have noticed that between episodes, I want to say, between episodes 23 and 24, or 22 and 23, something to that effect, they're about 4 months. That's 8 weeks, give or take. I'm sorry, 16 weeks, give or take. So we should actually be in the 30s or 40s, late 30s, early 40s right about now. So I'm doing my best to catch up before week 52. I don't want to keep you guys hanging, and I don't want to destroy my other projects in doing this. At the same time, I do want to get this information out. I do want to see how these series are going. I do want you guys to see how these series are going. So let's talk about Red Lanterns. First off, we've got Rancor. Now, for some reason, he has a special Red Lantern name. Why? Because he's from Earth. For some reason, he can reason and use his intelligence. Why? Because he's from Earth. Naturally, he's a white, straight male. Any surprises yet? There's another thing I would mention, but that's not in this issue, so I'm going to hold off on that for a little bit. The other subplots in this... Well, okay, I didn't really describe the subplot, but we've got 3 subplots basically running in this issue. First off, we see Bleez is basically taken half of the Red Lantern Corps as her own corps. She's specifically declaring a usurping Atrocitus's power. She basically has decided Atrocitus is old and washed up, and she's taking over. Not altogether surprising, yet at the same time rather sudden. It went from being foreshadowed to, oh my god, it's here, no actual lead-in. So what she's doing now is, in addition to Sinestro already hunting down his the former members of his corps, Bleez is now doing the same. So she's been torturing, killing them. There's a little scene where a tortured Sinestro, yes, a tortured Sinestro, sorry, that's what they're called, Sinestro Corpsman, mentions the fact that Bleez is sure to pay for this because even Sinestro was afraid of Atrocitus and his legendary power. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't recall Sinestro as a type to ever allow anybody to believe he was afraid of things. Now, Hal Jordan, possibly the only mortal in the universe that Sinestro is actually afraid of on a personal level, has seen Sinestro afraid of things. But I don't think anybody else has been allowed to have that kind of glimpse. And the only reason Sinestro hasn't killed Hal is because, 1, he respects his capability, 2, because he's tried and failed. Now, if an underling of Sinestro got wind that Sinestro might be afraid of an enemy of all people, that underling would not have a very long lifespan. So I have a feeling this idea was implanted into Sinestro's mind after Sinestro left the Corps. But either so, it's rather jarring considering the worship and fear that Sinestros have generally had for their founder. So that comment seems very out of place. The other plotline we have is Atrocitus has been searching for Krona, who may be resurrected, or the person who stole his body. Now here we find that his body has been stolen and his skin kind of been used as an armor / power source for a creature named Abysmus. Now I believe this is the first we've heard of Abysmus. I don't believe, if he appeared before, it probably would have been in War of the Green Lanterns, which I have not read. I did not read the storylines that actually included Krona, kind of the build up to them. But because of the closing of Borders, I missed a lot of Brightest Day and its follow-ups. So this creature named Abysmus was an old experiment of Atrocitus's. He was trying to create the Red Lanterns, and Abysmus had a flaw, which is not specified in this issue. We do learn what it is later on, but we don't know what it is just yet. It was a flaw. You can assume it to be something like love, or the inability to feel rage, or something to that effect. But this was basically a Frankenstein. He was cobbled together, forced to live, and then killed and buried. Now, Ismalt is not a very nice planet, and it sort of seeped its own zombified presence into Abysmus, brought him back to life. I'm not sure if it's mentioned in this issue that the flaw, you can assume to be some sort of emotion, was removed. It's either mentioned in this issue or the next one. But basically, it turns him into the black-hearted creature that Atrocitus apparently always wanted him to be. So he jumps Atrocitus and gets, I guess his aim's a little rusty. His surprise butt sex doesn't exactly work. He stabs him through the spine with a stalagmite of some sort. You know, injures Atrocitus just in time for Rancor to show up on the planet. Now this was the third subplot, kind of an overarching story type of deal. Rancor was fighting with Guy Gardner in the end of last issue, and as he's becoming more self-aware, becoming a little less of a Red Lantern, he kind of helps Guy defuse the situation somewhat, keep people from being unnecessarily killed. Then the call of his ring is too strong, and he finds himself transporting to Ismalt, where the issue ends. So altogether, I would say, despite being rather abrupt and jarring in some ways, this is a decent build up to the next story arc, and I've got to say that there's more set into place here than the first arc of Red Lanterns. It seems that they've finally found something to do with this comic. The big problem I had, and that others I believe had with Red Lanterns, is that it seemed to be a premise that wasn't going anywhere. That the premise was Hulk smash without everything that comes with the Hulk. It was basically just smash and get mad and smash, and that's really all that there really was to it. Some backstories sprinkled here and there, some reasons to be pissed off, some little stories and tidbits, but no cohesive story. And with Abysmus and Rancor and all this, it seems we might really be getting a cohesive story here. So that's with issue number 7. Hopefully the second arc of Red Lanterns is better than the first arc. It's kind of what it's looking to be. So I doubt that all the people who stopped reading Red Lanterns after the first 2 issues are going to come back. But that's unfortunate, because I think this is really a setup that has a lot more potential than the beginning of the series did. So with that, Man in Black signing out. Until next episode. Not next week.